But Brandon, let's move on into the next team we got. And we got the Maryland Terrapins here. The Terrapins, as I'm going to say it like Charles Barkley. That was terrible. But I'm going to say the Maryland Terrapins. And they actually had an improved season last year. First year under DJ Durkin coming in as the head coach. They go from 3-9 in 2015 to a 6-7 record, 3-6 in the conference last season. So I want to start Maryland off with this. Do you see them continuing this trend in Durkin's second year as head coach? And if so, how much more improved? That made sense in my head. How more improved will this team be in 2017? If I can get words that can come out of my mouth and form actual sentences.
If you can speak.
Yeah.
Well, I think that where Maryland is right now is about where I think that they'll probably be again this year. And I think that they may take that 6-7 and maybe just flip it to 7-6.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they definitely could do that. I'm not saying that it's because they're not a good team or they're a bad team or anything like that. It's because I think there's so many other really, really good teams out there. Honestly, this is me. Once we are done talking with Maryland, the next couple of teams in the East, pretty good, pretty much trending up. But so is Maryland. I don't want to count them out and say they're not. They are trending up. And the reason why I'm a little hesitant right now of them being able to make further steps forward this year or really big steps forward this year is because of one guy, Kasim Hill, their freshman quarterback. This guy is supposed to be the next big thing for them at the quarterback position. But for me, it's a matter of time until he gets there. How quickly will he be ready? Is he ready week one? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to be ready week one, but they've got a number of other guys behind him. Caleb Henderson, Max Bortenschlager. They've got other guys there, but Hill is the man they want. And they had a great recruiting class. And Hill's part of that really strong recruiting class. And that's why I think Maryland, whether it be this year, whether it be next year, is going to find themselves really moving in the right direction. They already did this year, but I think they're going to find themselves continuing to do that because, as I've mentioned a couple of times in a lot of these previews, recruiting is a really big thing. And if you're focused on that, if you're focused on success there, you're going to have success. Most of the time, you're going to have success on the field. Let's take the big powerhouses. In Alabama, they always have really good recruiting. They always have a good product on the field. Ohio State, they always have good recruiting. They have good product on the field. So I think that this Kasim Hill, freshman, guy who is going to be the guy there, and they want to be the guy there for the next couple of years and lead this program. He's expected to be able to get his shot right away, but right away, how quick is that? Is that week 1 or is that week 3 or is that week 4? Is whatever. But it's how quickly then does he perform? You know what I mean? It's like you may get your shot, but how quickly are you comfortable with the starting position? How quickly are you comfortable with that offense? Game day is so much different than on the practice field on a Thursday.
I'll be completely honest. I look at the schedule and the only reason I bring up the schedule so soon is I look at the schedule for this Terrapin team. And I think of what I said in the Michigan State preview I was like, oh man, with what they got with Lewerke and Lang and Johnson and all these weapons, that the schedule not doesn't scare me, but I feel confident going into this year's schedule. But for the Terrapins, I don't feel that. And you might be saying, well, Ricky, why? They have similar opponents obviously they play each other, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan. They both have Rutgers on the schedule. They both have Minnesota on the schedule. But there are key games that I look at. At Texas, I think Tom Herman's going to have his boys ready to play. I don't think that they get the win there. I mean, another tough one, UCF, Central Florida. That's a coin toss game. Minnesota's a coin toss game. But I just look at all the top 3, Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, I think Michigan State's going to be improved. That's 4 tough games. You get Wisconsin on the road. That's 5. Northwestern could be a good team this year. That's 6. Too many games, 7 if you count the non-conference Texas game. There are too many games this year that I think because of their youth and inexperience, they're not going to be able to pull out. And I look at this Maryland team, and I kind of want to say, come back to me in 2 years.
Are you saying Maryland's inexperience?
I think
they've got plenty of experience in the defensive side of things.
I think
they have 10 guys returning.
Overall,
they're going to have a really good linebacking core. They need to be better in the secondary, but they have guys returning. The experience is there. Where would you say is the inexperience outside of the quarterback position? Where I would agree with you, there's probably some inexperience there. But if this guy is the real deal and he can come out and he can make an impact right away, that's important. But outside of that, where's the inexperience?
Well, and I look at it, and you've got upperclassmen, and like I'm looking at Henderson coming in from a transfer. You have Jackson, the cornerback, and you've got Denzel Coiners, the safety. Those just because they're juniors doesn't mean they're going to transfer in and be boom right away. I still think this team, because of, I think they're going to be, with Durkin as the head coach, he's very enthusiastic and he can kind of rally the troops. But I feel like we need a year or 2 of his system to get more in place to where I look at this team and I go, come back to me in 2 years. And in 2 years, this team could be a team that we look at and go, hey, the big 3? Yeah, there's another one there. There's another one. There could be in 2 years, 5 teams we look at between Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan, because I don't think they're going anywhere. Michigan State, I think they're just going to get better. And Maryland in 2 years, I think, will be another team to where we're looking at this division and we're going, damn, I would not want to play in it. Would not want to play in it at all. And I think this season for Maryland is going to be, yes, the inexperience at quarterback is a big one, especially if you go with the young guy. But I just look at this team and I see a lot of youth. And, you're looking at sophomores on the offensive line, sophomores and freshmen, not just on the starting lineup. I'm talking about their depth. Their depth is very youthful behind them to where if the junior or senior has to come out and take a breather, I'm putting a freshman or sophomore in there, and that's where the kind of lapses could go. Once they have this complete team that is older, then they're going to make strides, and that's why I say in 2 years, come and see me, because the Terrapins are going to be good with DJ Durkin.
I think you're right. I think in 2 years we'll probably be looking at Maryland and saying, "Wow, they made those strides. They got the recruits that they wanted. They put them in place. They performed for them." And I think that we are going to be talking about Maryland being one of the more top teams in the Big Ten East Division. But at the same time, I don't want to count them out this year from being able to maybe take a step in that direction of, maybe they win one more game.
That's exactly it. Maybe they're 7-6 this year.
Maybe they win 2 more games. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're 8-5. Maybe they just call up Kevin Sumlin and say, "Hey man, you do this every year. How do you get to 8-5? What is your method?" But I think that ultimately, if you go down the list here, mm-hmm. We can't. It's so easy and so hard at the same time to be able to say, Texas, Tom Herman's got his boys, ready.
Of course, in the preseason, it's so easy to say win, loss, win, loss, win, loss.
Well, exactly. But how many times do we see mm-hmm. something we expected Michigan State to be very, very solid last year, and we would have been able to sit here last year and go mm-hmm. down and that's a win, that's a win, that's mm-hmm. a win, and that ended up being a bad loss. Close.
There's
but
a reason
loss.
why you go out and play the football games.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. And I've said this multiple times because mm-hmm. I know that our fans, I know that our viewers a lot of times, especially if they're really, really strong and passionate about mm-hmm. the school or the team, they'll go through, they'll hear us say something, they'll be like, F you! That's not going to happen. They're going to be better. Mm-hmm. And I get it. I do. But I think to be able to sit here and still go down and go through and, mm-hmm. and say what you think, especially when you know Penn State's going to be there again.
Yeah.
You know Michigan State's got to be better. Michigan is Michigan.
I just look at Michigan,
and
Ohio State, and Penn
those
State.
last 3 games, I would like to not play them.
Yeah.
Michigan State, and Penn State. You get 2 of them at home.
Mm-hmm.
You go to MS. You go to East Lansing for the Michigan State game. But that's going to be a rough, tough way to end the season. That's going to test your guts in that one.
There's one group of positions that I'm going to say that I think will be, when I say the Achilles heel to this team, I'm putting the asterisk of if this group experiences any kind of injuries, they're done. And this is going to be the Achilles heel, is the offensive line, because I look at the depth chart right now, according to ourlads.com, and from listing from left tackle to right tackle, you've got redshirt junior, redshirt junior, redshirt junior, redshirt junior at everything but right guard. You have a sophomore right guard. But then I look at the second string. Yeah, your left tackle's a junior, but the backup's a redshirt freshman. Yeah, left guard, he's a redshirt junior, but the backup's a freshman. Center, it's a sophomore. Right guard, it's also a sophomore, so that's a wash because they're both the same. Right tackle, you're going from junior to freshman. If this core experiences one injury to any of those redshirt juniors, what if it's multiple of those redshirt juniors and those freshmen have to come into the game? That's the core that I look at, the group on this team, and I say, like, if I'm a Maryland fan, I'm sitting there and I'm going to bed and I'm going to say my prayers and I go, please God, do not let the offensive line experience any injuries this year. If there's one thing I ask you, please, just don't let them experience any injuries, because if they do, it's not going to be a good season. And then we're looking at it, and at the end of the year, we'll say, well, this team was a bum, and da-da-da-da. And then there'll be the logical ones that are like, whoa, but guys, offensive line got injured. That is what I look at, and I fear for this Terrapin team, because of that's one position. It's a key one where I mentioned they have that inexperience on the second string and in the depth. Not necessarily starters, but in the depth.
Let me give you my final comment on Maryland.
Okay.
And we'll move on.
Okay.
It will be a winning season for Maryland this year if they go to another bowl game.
And they will go to another bowl game?
It will be a winning season if they go to a bowl game.
So if they go 6-6, go to a bowl game, and either go 7-6 or 6-7. That'd be a winning season.
Yes.
I'm with you, because if I'm a Maryland fan and you go 6-7, do not think to yourself, well, you know what? We were 3-9 and then we went to 6-7. Now we stayed the same. It's over. No. Do not think that at all, because like I said, and I'm going to use the offensive line as kind of the microcosm here for my little example. You know how I said all those classes for the offensive line? Do you notice what class I didn't say?
Senior.
Those redshirt juniors, they become redshirt seniors next year. That sophomore in the starter, he becomes a junior. Those freshmen become sophomores. They just get a year older. And that, to me, is going to be the importance with this team. This team will get older, will get more experience all around in the next couple of years. I'm saying 1 to 2 years, with some more recruiting classes, maybe getting those transfers to come in as well. I think this Maryland team, I'm not going to say the sky is the limit, because then it just kind of seems like I'm saying you're going to be a playoff team. You could be able to compete in this division very, very soon within the next couple of years if the cards play right and Durkin can bring in some recruiting classes. That is how I will say it. But we're going to turn the conversation on to you guys. Let us know down below, what do you see for Maryland? Maryland fans, what is a success for you? What is not a success for you this season? Let us know down below in the comment section.